supervisors and 5 managers. So that's probably how it's likely seen in terms of the operational setup today.
Yeah, and go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking out loud now. So, whether those, 10 supervisors or 5 managers, do they have a full-time job managing the people, or is there a specialist unit that just does the approvals, sort of set off in a wing? Does that make an efficiency?
Gotcha. It probably depends. And another common activities I can think of is probably issuing statement. I know you mentioned in GSC most of the statements are electronic, so probably it's not relevant for GSC. However, for other banks, which is probably less advanced in their technologies, and they still need to issue, like the bank I used to work for, they still need to issue a lot of paper statements to the customers. So which would be involving printing statements, putting them into envelopes and posting those statements. So do you think it would be a good idea to centralize such a team just to be responsible for printing, for enveloping and then posting those statements?
Yes, I can elaborate. What's my experience? So the one constraint about that, so I'm set in Asia, I'm set in Hong Kong, and I've got 21 entities in Hong Kong. Let's say it's 50% of my entire statement volume, but maybe I've got 20% in, well, let's say 10% in Malaysia, 10% in Singapore, 10% in China, etc. So it just goes back to, logistically, if I have all the statements in that I want for Taiwan, Singapore, Malaysia, do I get all the data sent to Hong Kong? Can I do that from a regulatory context? If I then print all of those things in Hong Kong, I've then got to put them on DHL planes and boxes to get them back to the country to put them into the postal service. Some of that becomes a constraint in terms of cost. Okay? So it makes sense in scale markets where it's sensible to do so, to consolidate all of your print operations. Definitely. Highly recommend it. Work on why we print so many things, look at the Pareto analysis, go back to the business unit, find out which customer journey it came out of, and try and give them alternatives, i.e. switch it off, 0 transaction statements, useless. Don't bother sending them, why do you need monthly, let's move it to quarterly. Why do you do an annual summary of everything they've already got, let's scrap that. So there are many, many things I've worked on around efficiencies in print. And it makes absolute sense because it's not a core banking activity that we shouldn't actually do it inside a bank, but should actually be given to a printing expert to do. And you should have a KPI and projects and transformation activity that looks to eliminate paper in favor of email or SMS or online communication. So there's one opportunity there around PDFs. So if there's a temporary solution that says, actually, we've got email addresses on customers, we can sort of, instead of printing it, create a PDF version of the statement. If we can encrypt it to the satisfaction of the regulator, we can actually send it by email. If they're not on online banking, for example. If they're on online banking, fine, they can land on a web page, there's a secure environment, they can go in and they can see these PDFs. So you'll have different ways in which you can get the information electronically to customers. But in many countries, it's a choice. The customer may insist on, no, I want paper.
Gotcha. I think the cost and the regulatory point is actually very two great points, and in the context of HSBC, GSC, because we are so spread across different countries. However, if we only centralize, or if the majority of our customers only in one country, let's say only mainland China, so there's no regulatory issues, and so which means that centralized team or center can print out all the papers in one location. With no legal constraints and also and so you don't have to ship it from one location to another to print it and ship it back. So I think the cost from a cost perspective will be minimal as well. So So
that makes sense.